implied, domain, and range. Okay, I want to get through all this quickly. So here's the rough summary of all of them. I'm going to try and do as much as I can. So we have the linear equation, which is y equals x. Okay? What's the domain? So the domain is asking what can x be? So my question for you is, can x be negative? Yes. Can x be 0? Yes. Y equals 0. Can x be positive? Yes. Our domain is all real numbers. What's our range? We can do the same thing. Can x be negative? Can y be negative? Yes. Can y be 0? Yes, when x equals 0. Can y be positive when x is positive? Yes. Range is all real numbers. Okay? So we're just doing the basic things. I'll show you how this works with quadratics. Y equals x squared. Domain. Can x be negative? Yes. Can x be 0? Yes. Can x be positive? Yes. All true. Because that's what's happening. We can put anything into this. Now the question, so that means it's all real numbers. And the question is, what's the range? Well, can y be positive? Yes. You know, if x is some number. Can y be 0 when x is 0? Yes. But can y be negative? No. Y has to be is greater or equal to 0, because all square numbers, no square numbers can be 0, negative. So that means our range is from 0 to infinity. So the message to learn here is that this thing is always greater or equal to 0. So I'll show you how to use that in practice. But we're going to go through a few more equations first. Square roots. So the inverse of that. Y equals square root of x. Domain. First of all, can x be positive? Yes. You know, can x be 0? Yes. You know, you can take the square root of 0 and y 0. Can x be negative? No. Okay? X is always greater or equal to 0. Yeah, actually, I want to write it like that now. X is always greater or equal to 0. It can't be less than 0. What's the range? Can y be positive? Yes. Can y be 0? Yes, when x is 0. Can y be negative? No. Y is always greater than 0, because the square root has an invisible positive sign on the front of it. You can't get negatives. Okay, I'm going to try I think it's a hyperbola? Hyperbola? I'm not sure. But y equals 1 on x. Okay? What we get here is domain, range, minus 0 plus, minus 0 plus. Now you can do it with me. Can x be negative? Yes. Can x be positive? Yes. Can x be 0? No, you can't divide by 0. Domain is everything except 0. Now what can y be? Can y be positive? Yes, when x is positive. Can y be negative? Yes, when x is negative. Can y be 0? No. If y was 0, then we could make it x times y equals 1. So 0 times x would equal 1. That's not possible. You can't have 1 when something equals 0. So the range is also r excluding 0. Okay? Getting the idea? We'll try a few more. Let's go exponential. Exponential, I mean. Y equals 10 to the x. Domain. So these are all the base graphs. On the next page, I'll show you how to apply this to anything. So, can x be negative? Yes. Can x be 0? Yes. Can x be positive? Yes. When x is 0, y equals 1. 10 to the 0 is 1. When x is negative, it becomes like a fraction 1 on 10 something. So domain is all real numbers. What's the range though? Can y be positive? Yes. Can y be 0? No. 10 to the something will never equal 0. You can't have, do it over here, 10 to the anything, like 10 to the negative 100 would equal 1 on 10 to the 100. There's no way you can get 0. So you can't get 0, and you can't get negative numbers. So the range is y is greater than 0. Okay? Or you could do r plus. But I find it easier to use if it's y is greater than 0. And that brings us to log next. Logs. So y equals log 10 of x. What's our domain and range? Well, first of all, we know it's the inverse, so we can just swap. We can swap it. We know that x has to be greater than 0, and y has to be all real numbers. But I'd like to understand this in a more usable way. And because I don't really understand logs, I never have, I'll just power both sides to the log. So 10 to the y equals x. That looks much easier. Now we know that y can be anything. But can x be 0? No. So y can be anything. I'll do that first. Okay, can x be 0? No, because it's 10 to the power of something. That can never equal 0. Can x be negative? No. It's a positive now number to the power of something. Can't be negative. So it has to be positive. What other equations do you guys get? I'll use sine and cos, maybe? Sine and cos. Y equals sine x. Domain is like everything because it just goes in cycles. So they're going to restrict the domain for you, which is on the previous page. But if we look at range, we know that y is always less than or equal to, greater or equal to minus 1 or less than or equal to 1, because it cycles through like this. Okay? And that's most of them. Maybe I'll do tan as well. Last one, tan x. Domain, again, anything, range. Well, tan x is sine x on cos x. Okay, so if you look at this, the domain, you can't have cos x equals 0. Cos x can't equal 0. So you can't have all real numbers except when cos x equals 0, which we'll learn later as a pi on 2. But the range, you can have pretty much anything except 0. No, you can have 0 if the top number is 0. So you can have everything. So that's a quick summary of all the different ways of looking at the domain and range of all the equations. It may be a little bit difficult for you for now, but you can come back to this and have a look at it. And I'll show you how to use this in questions on the next page. Cheers.